as being a young woman, there's a certain power that you just intrinsically have over men.
Yeah.
And you can feel it and you know it. You know exactly what that is. Yep. That is going to go away. Like in the movies when they show somebody turning into an invisible.
Oh God, that is so depressing.
That's what it feels like, though. That's what it feels like.
So if you can't already tell from that clip, we aren't holding back in this episode. We're going to tell it like it is, and we're going to have fun doing it too. Today we have a guest, an accomplished VP of marketing in her 50s, who we'll call Devin Moonbeam. Her pick for a pseudonym. We got to protect the innocent here. She's had a long career in the industry at both big industry players and smaller startups. She's going to tell us why getting older in tech really sucks for women. Hint, a lot of it has to do with looksism and a lack of representation of women at the top in leadership roles. But even so, she has gotten something out of even the worst experiences and built a killer career for herself. Her positive mentality and sense of self-worth is something we could all use, especially during this crazy tech layoff boom when a lot of us have to deal with job loss or fear of it. She'll suggest some great tips to help older employees reduce bias and avoid pitfalls when interviewing, and she'll tell you the one term that definitely needs to retire if you want to help yourself out here. She has a stark warning for employers who don't value experience. And some good news. She'll reveal why things are going to get a lot better for women and other diverse groups in tech over time. Finally, we'll clue you in on our cheeky startup idea that's going to change the game for older tech employees forever. DMs are open for VC and angel funding.
You're listening to It Gets Late Early, a show about the experience of getting older in the tech industry. I'm your host, Maureen Clough. Let's dive in.
You can see a 55-year-old man and a 55-year-old woman apply for a job, and somehow that man will come across in that interview as being much more competent than a woman. It's more gender. I see way more gender bias, Maureen, than I see age bias.
But then you add the two together, and that's a powerful 1-2 punch, man, right there. Gender and ageism, I mean, I already you might think this is absurd, and that's fine, and I'm happy to be told I'm absurd at any point. But I have already started thinking about taking Botoxing my resume, Botoxing my LinkedIn. I actually dropped my college graduation dates. I've thought about actually dropping certain experience, which actually makes me really sad. I'm like, why would I want to take this experience, all of which is.
I did this a long time ago.
You did. So tell me about that. Tell me about the interest in doing that, why you did that. That would be interesting to me.
You know what it is. You know exactly the reasons. It's exactly the same reasons. You know, as well as I do, that a hiring manager, first of all, in tech, there's two, this is a different bias. There's a bias towards older workers because they seem to be, if they're not technologically native. It's being technologically native.
Yep.
And I've seen this over and over and over again. And I've seen this with my peers, especially because we grew up before there was MTV, right? We grew up before then.
Yep.
And I've seen this with my peers. They don't learn the systems. And it's more on them than anything in the world. It's like, don't get on a call and tell a recruiter that their CRM is broken. Don't say Salesforce doesn't work.
That's awesome.
Don't be a dumbass.
Yeah, no. It's right? A lot of it is common sense, right?
But upskill yourself. Stay present. Stay present in that technology. That's the most important thing. And there's the bias is towards the people that aren't going to have those struggles.
Right.
And so I Botoxed my resume to cover for that. I can run circles around Salesforce. I can do, I can blah, 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 blah. Do I know Tableau? No. Am I going to take the time to learn it?
If you had to, you would. That's the thing. But you have the confidence that if it were an integral part of your job, you would figure it out. You would take the time and make the most of that, right? But you have other assets. You have other values that you bring to a company, and Tableau, it just ain't one of them. If it needed to be, you'd go figure it out, right?
Right. Well, I'm taking it in a class next week. So
there you go. Look at
it. If I have to, I will. Right. But that, I would say that is the bigger thing is to make sure your skills are present.
Yeah.
Timely to now. Right. I just look at some of my friends and I'm like, did you tell them about your Rolodex?
Yeah. Maybe
I got 1,500 contacts in my Rolodex. It's like, come on. that's on you.
Yeah.
That's on you.
Totally.
Right. So just that's why I Botox my resume.
Yeah. To make sure that people
I wouldn't think you have to do
into that.
There's another thing that I see that you can have a 30-year-old director that's a woman, and you can have a 50-year-old director that's a woman. And somehow the only way the SVPs can hear you is if they want to sleep with you.
Oh God. That is
right.
So disturbing.
So that the attractive woman gets the airtime and gets this. You can literally be in a room and say the same freaking things, and they somehow don't hear you. They just hear
the cute,
younger person. Cute. I honestly really, I haven't felt it on the age side as much as I have on the gender side, but there is a place where they both work together.
Where if you have the powers that be that happen to be male and heterosexual, that can really be something that can be working against you as you're an older woman versus like being, I could see that. Absolutely.
In hiring, promotions, like all of those things.
So tell me a little bit about that. You've seen hiring practices and promotions that have been unfair and discriminatory. Tell me about that. You don't have to tell me where or anything. I'm just curious, like if you can.
Every single place I've ever worked, I've seen women who have not had the right skill set get hired for jobs that they were in way over their head.
Interesting. And you believe
based on their appearance. Every single place I have ever worked, categorically across the board.
Every single place categorically across the board.
Across the board
who come into these roles
when there's no diversity in the senior leadership team as far as gender. I have categorically seen that across the board. Everywhere I have ever worked. Everywhere I've ever worked.
And you see these women who are younger getting hired over more experienced women who happen to be not necessarily as youthful in appearance or as pretty, perhaps. Just
right.
Wow.
Especially if it's a male hiring manager. Wow. I've seen that. I can't even tell you how many times I've seen that. I can't even count them anymore.
That's so disturbing. Have you ever been in a position to put that out there into the universe? Have you ever been able to say, hey, what the heck? You're not going to hire Kathy, who's 20 years older. You're hiring this lady with less experience. Like, have you ever been able to say that? Uh-huh. Have you called them out? What have they done?
Well, so at the senior levels, hiring is by committee.
Oh, yeah.
So you get a chance to intercede. And what I had at the company I'm at now, a really great advocate in a coworker. She was pretty fantastic. And she would like, I was interviewing with a guy, my same age as me. And they were all like, well, we can't, we're going to hire him, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, 25 times more qualified than that guy. What are you doing? Right? She just called it out.
Good for her.
And she was a really good advocate for that. And I've seen that play out a couple of times here in other areas where I've just been like, you cannot come over into my department and recruit people out without talking to me.
Yeah, that's absurd.
Like,
it's your department.
Just because you're a guy.
Wow.
Right? Wow. So like and there's lots of places where I've been able to step in and actually say something, but you have to understand that I grew up
places
sometimes you're successful about half the time.
Okay. Like, you're like,
but you have to come out
20 years older should be hired here, and here's why. Do you ever just like blatantly say, are you trying to hire her because she's adorable or something? Like, what?
That'll get you nowhere.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring. I just wondered what kind of relationship you had with those people, if you could actually call
have a business. You got to have a business case. You can't just say, do you know what you're doing? You just stop it.
Yeah.
Right? Just because you zipped up your pants, it doesn't mean you lost oxygen to your brain. Come on.
I love it. Don't you wish you could just sometimes just come right out with it and be like, all right, let's call a spade here, buddy. Like, I know why you want to hire her. We all know why you want to hire her. All right.
We all got it.
Yeah. We all understand the allure. Okay. But Kathy here, she's the winner.
Yeah. So I've categorically seen that just across the board. And that's changing as more and more women are moving into managerial roles.
Thank God.
Yeah. So that has changed. But you have to remember, Maureen, I grew up in such a time where sexual harassment at the workplace wasn't against the law. It was a given.
It was a given.
It was literally a given. Like, you would not believe some of the shit we went through.
I can only imagine, and like I have to tip my hat so much to people who dealt with it first and like made it not okay, because it's such bullshit. And
yeah, like your skirt's too short.
Oh Lord,
that happened to me once.
Oh,
it was
God.
above my knee. It was above my knee.
They got the ruler out on you. They took the ruler.
They just called me in and told me. And I was 19 years old. I'm like, come on.
Good God.
I had one guy tell me that I looked good in those leggings.
Oh Lord. Oh,
and I should wear them again. He was married, so that was fun. I've seen every single version you can imagine.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And
so
had to push back against it a bunch, or just take it, right? Like,
yeah, you generally take it and leave, because you go to HR, they just fire you for it.
Oh yeah, they just fire you.
There was a turning point for me where I just made a decision where I'm not taking it anymore. It's just like no, I'm just gonna say it. Like, no, that's not okay, and you can't say that, and don't say it again in my presence.
I do get the sense that this like specific issue of ageism is far worse for women than it is for men.
It is.
That the gray hair is seen as something that provides gravitas and adds a certain layer of authority almost as a male, but as a woman you're getting like fired, right? Or you're getting pushed aside or cast.
You're just invisible. It's really hit you at about 45.
Yeah, tell me about that. Tell me about my future.
As being a young woman, there's a certain power that you just intrinsically have over men.
Yeah.
And you can feel it, and you know exactly what that is. That is going to go away.
We trade on it. I hate to admit it,
because we have to. We have to.
Totally agree.
Right? That is going to go away.
Yep.
And it's going to have to be replaced with just solid go at it skills.
Yeah. And men have such transition that's needed.
Yeah, and men don't have to make that transition. Yeah, it's slow. It's a really slow, like it's how do you describe it? It's like in the movies when they show somebody turning into an invisible.
Oh God, that is so depressing.
That's what it feels like, though. That's what it feels like. And so if you don't have the right, you have to have the communication skills in the talk track and the executive function skills to compensate
get around
for that.
You have to circumvent that. Wow. But yeah, no, you're right. As I continue to gain skills and experience, like, thank God, because like you said, it's the rest of the stuff is going to come crashing down. Maybe not all at once, but like it's going to be a steady slide down, right?
Yeah.
And do what we want with Botox or whatever. It's still coming, and there ain't much we can do about it. What I'm worried about is getting to 10 years from now, right? Like, I'm not necessarily worried about how I'm going to do in the immediate near term, but I'm starting to wonder, will I be able to find a job in 15 years? Like, is this going to be okay? Or is this going to have taken a nosedive? Like, are the sort of the intense, like, absurdity with the obsession of youth and like all of the emphasis on these people who are, the next Mark Zuckerberg, like all of that focus, is that going to be a thing still? Like, or are we all who are my age and older, like, are we going to be fine? Like, these are just questions I have.
You want to know what I think? I think it might be interesting to find out how many of, especially in marketing roles and partnership roles, what the mid-level to senior level management tier looks like from a gender basis.
Oh yeah.
It's, right? If it's 80% men, it's going to have a ageism bias for women like there's no tomorrow. Because you know who doesn't give a shit how old you are? A CEO of the office or of a company that's a woman doesn't care how old you are. She cares whether or not you can get the job done. If it's a man, there's going to be some other shit in there.
Right? And that's the thing. I mean, it is prevalent that they are male in most of those positions. And I think that would be true in a lot of the go-to-market organization structures out there, right? I think that you would probably find somewhere around 70 plus in terms of men at the top versus women, right? So
yeah, and my chief revenue officer, at the company I'm at now, he's gone. He got fired. But I mean, he called me mouthy.
He called you mouthy?
It's like, you're mouthy. And I'm like,
oh my God.
You're a douche. So I guess we've got some work to do.
There we go. And I think that, there is definitely gendered ageism out there. I mean, there have been studies on it. I mean, I know, especially in media, it's been a huge problem, right? The love interest of, so-and-so who's 60 can't be more than 30 in these movies. It's just like a joke, right? And so it's certainly a thing. And when I consider, especially in go-to-market, you're working in partnerships, you're working in marketing, you're working in sales, I think about down the line, as I age, are they going to hire me with the higher healthcare premiums, the more intense salary, so on and so forth? Yes, more experience, or they're going to hire the cute 30-year-old girl, right? Like, I have a hard time conceiving how I'm going to win that battle, right? And that's the kind of thing that scares me.
They're going to do both. They're going to do
so.
Right? Some will do some of that, some will do some of that crap, and some will do some of the other crap. But you are going to be, this is my read on it, you're going to be just fine. You're 15 years away from where I am right now, and I had to claw and scratch to get here. But the doors are opening and it's getting a lot easier.
That's great. And you don't foresee that being an issue for you as you continue to get older. You're not.
Oh, I don't think that I'm going to be able to knock on a door at 70 years old and ask for $500,000 a year in salary, and they're going to be going, you know what, Granny, that's a good idea.
If that ever happens, can you please bring me with you? Because I want to work there.
So in the very early days of the tech industry, it was all about, oh my God, it's new, it's shiny, let's give them a whole bunch of money. It's so groovy.
So cool.
And now it's actually like, now it's more a little bit about product market fit, and there might actually be some financials behind it. It's vaporware. There is no product.
Vaporware.
We've all worked at those companies where you find out there's no product.
Yeah.
And you're like, you just took how many million in funding?
It's stunning to me. And the fact that primarily men get the opportunity to fund their dreams in that way, when it's really just like you said, vaporware or a thought, right? It's frustrating that there isn't more equity in terms of the funding in the world.
Let's dig into that just a little bit, because this has been there's something that I had a direct report that she said this to me one time. She goes, you know what, men get hired for their potential and women get hired for what they've done.
I think that's pretty accurate from what I see.
I do too.
And
it took me a while to really. Yeah. And it took me a really long time to put my arms around that and go, you know what? She's right. She's right.
I 100% agree with that. I've seen it borne out time and time again. And I know I myself have self-edited and not actually gone for things because I didn't think I had enough experience, or, hadn't quite reached the pinnacle or whatever, arbitrary thought leader level or expert level, if you will, in order to put my name out there. And I just feel like it's most often the case that men don't necessarily have that own constraint. They are able to put themselves out there and take a risk in a way that women are a little bit more reluctant to do. And we are our own worst enemies in that regard, right? So I keep on trying to push myself to do things before I'm ready. And there's no reason that Joe Blow down, the cubicle row, which of course is like a hallmark of yesteryear now, but down the row is more capable than you are. And he would step up to the plate to try to take something on that was new. Don't edit yourself, right? Just give yourself that shot. Ask,
because if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
Always no.
Every single time.
And women are so people pleasing by nature. It's been drilled into us for so long. We want to be likable. We want to be everyone's friend. We want to be, the caregiver, the nurturer. And it's just, I think that's what keeps us from taking that step forward. We're too afraid to be labeled pushy or other unsavory titles, right? So it's just, but I think we really need to keep on pushing against that. And the whole thing, I could go down a rabbit hole for hours about how much it annoys me and how frustrated I am that that's the status quo. But I do think that there's much more of a focus on it and a spotlight on shifting that narrative and shifting that sort of way of just being more risk friendly and just taking a step out on a limb more and more, right? So
I agree. And I think that it's important when you're doing this to surround yourself with the people that have done it before.
100%.
Right? You're only going to be as good as the people that are holding you up.
Yep.
Right? So realize that frequently, often, and take advantage of that network as often and as frequently as you can, and surround yourself with the right people.
I couldn't agree more. Agree more. And
so
we're riding on the coattails of people who've done it before us, right? And we have to always leverage the expertise that they have gleaned from all those years of actually going out there and doing it and being on the forefront. And hopefully we'll be, able to do even more for the people behind us, right? So I'm always thinking about that too. It's maybe I'm not obsessed with particularly what I'm doing at one given time or another career-wise, but I think to myself, okay, well, there's so few men in this, or excuse me, there's so few women in this arena. Like if I don't keep on driving and keep on going, I'm making it harder for the people behind me. I do sometimes think about that in a way that I hope is healthy, but sometimes think maybe isn't, because it should also be about like agency and like my own choices in life, right? Like, do I really want this, or am I doing this because like I feel like I have to, you know?
Sometimes it's okay to do something just because you think you have to, I think.
Yeah.
And I think there's always there's even in the most craptastic company, there is a lesson to be learned and a takeaway that you're going to get.
That is
right?
such a good tidbit. In the most craptastic company, there's something to be learned. You're right.
And I think it's really super important that you recognize that even the worst things are opportunities sometimes, and you're always building something from that experience. Sometimes the best experience is knowing who to avoid.
Yes, that's so true. Knowing what you don't want to do is just as important as what you want to do. And I've been collecting.
Make it crystal clear.
Yes, exactly. It can help direct you. It's like a new path opens up in front of you when you walk away from some of those craptastic companies, right? And I feel grateful for knowing what I don't want next time, right? Like that's pretty important too. So
like just really being able to look at something and go, nope.
Yep. I mean, some people will reach out now and I'm like, okay, I see this red flag, that red, nope, absolutely. Thank you so much for your offer, but I'm out. Yeah. I'm just curious your perspective, what you've seen in terms of ageism in the workplace, and if it's been different from a larger corporation versus a startup.
It's two things. Those are two different things. I don't see, here's what I'll say. You get what you pay for. Okay. Right? You get what you pay for. You can bring in your 31-year-old senior vice president of marketing and pay them $80,000 a year. Yeah, you absolutely can do that.
That's a choice. That's an option.
Enjoy your choice. I will be here in 6 to 8 months when you're ready to make a decision.
I love that. And is that a situation that's actually befallen you? Like, have you been up for something and then you've seen that they've hired someone like markedly younger with less experience than you?
Yeah, haven't you?
Not yet.
It's coming. It's
sure.
coming in hot. Well, yeah. And there'll be somebody that will come in and say all of the right words and say all of the right things and have all of the right KPIs that they read in their MBA book, right? They'll say all of the right things, but when push comes to shove, they will not be able to show it on paper, and CEOs don't almost give a shit because they don't even know how to dig into marketing. They don't understand it. Marketing is the worst because everyone thinks they're better at it than you.
Yep.
And you're the one that's been doing it for 20 years. They're like, you know what? It would be a really great idea if we handed out slugs of ammunition at that trade show. You're right. Nobody wants to be on the firing line. That's a great promo.
That's absolutely amazing. That is absolutely amazing.
Like everybody's better at it than us, but they're not.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other thing is particularly what I've observed is when you have a really young, unseasoned CEO who is the founder often, right? They think that they understand everything, but in fact, they actually understand very little. And they think that they can just go out and make whatever decisions and that everything's going to fall into place. But they have a fundamental lack of understanding of the real tenets of marketing or sales or partnerships or any of that sort of more go-to-market side of the business. Like, people should buy this, without having salespeople. Like, they don't value sales. They don't understand it. It's completely Greek to them, right? So that's what I've encountered as well, which has been incredibly difficult. So you find people who are like that, and then they don't understand why you would command a salary or, that you do have a certain level of expertise. They don't want to actually take your feedback or your guidance. It's a wild scenario.
I was replaced for that very reason.
Wow. Yeah.
Right. And it was because thank you for the $13,000 a year marketing budget. I really appreciate that. You have a 20% churn rate every month, which means you're losing 240% of your customers a year. And you're giving me $13,000 to acquire new customers at a customer acquisition cost of $2,500 a customer.
That is just ludicrous.
You're going to fail.
Yes.
And you just told the venture capitalist at that you didn't think an 85 or an 80% retention rate was bad.
Oh my gosh.
So when they just laughed us out the door, that's why.
Yeah, that's exactly why. And you'd think, I would think that a founder CEO might be a little bit better with math personally, but perhaps not, I guess.
When your marketing person just told you that on the walk to the and you ignored it.
That's grim.
This is what I mean. You get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for. Right.
And what you listen to. If you hire for the expertise, take it.
Yep.
Right.
And the
CEOs, man, they just know. We just know how to do it.
They just know how to do everything. They can do everyone's job for them better than you can. Why are you even here?
They get rid of the $180,000 employee and hire three $60,000 employees when the $180,000 employee was basically doing 3 jobs anyway. They just don't get it.
Yes.
They just don't get it. It's just a numbers game. They're going to miss out on the strategy. Is what's going to happen.
100%.
Even the worst CEO in the world is going to eventually get that you get what you pay for.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that is actually in the positive column because that means that we still have a chance.
They will. I mean, they're going to eventually get it. Like, I think like everybody in the world gets that you get what you pay for at some point in time. Yes. Right. Well,
I mean, we've all seen that play out in various elements of our life. Right?
In a million different ways, right? It's like you're going to figure this out sooner or later. Like you can do your own home do-it-yourself project.
But we'll see
3 times. You can do it 3 times for $20,000 each time, or you can do it 1 time for $40,000 once. You let me know which one works for you.
so true. I love that. Well, what I was going to ask you is like, if you ever think about your age as you're looking for jobs or as you're inside an organization, is your age ever at the forefront of your mind? If so, why?
I don't give a shit anymore.
That's awesome. I love that you don't give a shit anymore. That's great. Did you?
That's what happens when you get old enough. You just don't give a fuck.
I mean, that's what I have loved personally about aging is I give fewer and fewer fucks every single year that I go on, right? And now I'm just like grateful to be here. Every single year I get is a blessing. It's a privilege to continue to breathe air and be here with our fellow humans. Sometimes it's not so great. The last 3 years have been like a little grim, but like, you know what I mean? It's just, you just don't care as much anymore. It's awesome.
So here you get to this is kind of the spot you get to. It's like, do I need to have this title? Is the title validating me? I don't know if it is. And if somebody doesn't see the value behind having me here, I'll go send emails somewhere else.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. I think I don't worry so much. I don't worry about the ageism anymore.
Okay. So
I just don't. It's like I have the expertise. I have the value. If you don't see it, that's your problem, not mine.
I love that.
Part of just having too much in my plate anyway.
That's really awesome. Okay, so that is positive. And I wonder actually how much of this really is mindset, right? Like if you don't think it's a problem, then it isn't, right? Versus manifesting it into a problem, right? And so I think it's really cool to hear that you have that mentality where you're just like, fuck it. Like I know what I'm valued at. I know why people should hire me. If they don't want to, that's on them. What idiots. Like I love that perspective.
There is ageism in tech. I'm not going to deny that, but it depends on the role because at the right companies and for the right people, they'll want your experience because they'll need it. They need it. They absolutely need it and they will pay for that expertise.
That's good advice. And that's what, I want to continue bringing to the front is like there are companies that exist that actually value expertise and experience and will pay you for it. There's a lot more of a shifting mindset and a bigger move towards like, let's have inclusivity for all, regardless of, age, regardless of shape, regardless of, sexual preference and identity, whatever, right? And that's coming about. And I found that really gratifying to see in society at large. But I've just wondered, about tech specifically and what they're doing to advance the causes of people who are A, female, and B, of a certain age, right? And so far, I don't see much out there. And so I'm hoping that it's not necessary, but I sense that it will be, right?
What do they call it when everything is the same? Homogeneity.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the word.
Homogeneous.
So if you don't have that, you're not going to have innovation.
Right. You need to have a lot of difference, right, out there. Like diversity, there have been many studies that have borne out that the results of a diverse team, the output is better than if it's a homogeneous team. So
that's what will change the game.
I do sense that, some of this will be righted when you have the right leadership in place and when more women are actually founding companies and building companies and rising to the top. I'm hopeful that this will start to even out a bit.
I think you're going to be okay.
I
think by the time you get to where I am, I think you'll be fine. I think the dynamic across the top layer of senior management has changed drastically, especially in the last 5 to 10 years.
Yep.
I think you see more women in those roles. I think you're seeing more minorities in those roles. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a very, very good thing, especially for the next generation that's coming up into those senior leadership roles, i.e. you guys. It's all going to depend a little bit. It's all going to depend on that patriarchal component of our society.
Yeah. And I'm hopeful that can continue to be chipped away at. And yeah, I mean, because we can't really rely on Social Security anymore, and pensions are a thing of the past. And it's just, I start thinking about the lifespan, human longevity, and all of the advancements that have been made. And I'm like, fuck, I'm never, like, who's going to be able to retire? Like, when?
Right.
How? And so that joke you made about, like, being a grandma asking for $500K at the door, like, well, we might not be asking or able to get $500K, but we might very well still be pounding on the door asking for a job at 70.
You know what I would do? I'd have my daughter sit on the call, and I would just, and we have AI that'll do the voice. Like,
yeah. Oh, you know what?
Move.
That's right. We can have like an automaton, like our own little metaverse person that we can make like look super young.
Yeah. Exactly.
A Botox avatar.
And they're like, how did you get 50 years of marketing experience?
You look like a literal child. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. That could be the future. Maybe that's what we need to build for people. That's what
just complete autonomy around age.
That's what we should do.
Yeah.
That's our $1 million idea.
Yeah. Avatars.
Yeah. Ageless avatars.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today at It Gets Late Early. I hope this episode was insightful and entertaining. Now, before you go, if you're old and work in tech, just like me, I have something really cool for you. We're putting together a job board specifically for seasoned tech workers, where we'll curate the best opportunities for experienced tech talent. If you want a place to look for work where you can trust there won't be so much bias in the hiring process, go to itgetslateearly.com and sign up so you'll be the first to know when we launch it. Thanks, and see you next time.